Dissemination of information once a project or whether it's research or any kind of project that is done in the community, I think that any organization that works with the community should come back to the community and disseminate information back to the community about the project. Whether the information is negative or whether the information is positive, the community can learn from the information. Because if it's positive information, that means we can continue to do what we're doing things well. But if it's negative information, that means we need to change some things. And so why would you work with an organization, go through a process, and not come back and share some information with them? My other part of dissemination would be like so. Many times PIs changes before the project is ended because of either staffing or for whatever reasons. But even if the PI at the academic level changes, I believe that the new PI and the program itself owes to the community still an opportunity to come back to the community and disseminate information. And because I have been a part of a program that we've had several PIs that changed, and I'm just not sure whether or not the community, matter of fact, I am sure that the community really never received all of the information back that they needed about that project. And so I just think that dissemination is a key point. So some of the do's would be, to my perspective, some of the do's would be is that all academics ought to work from the premise of knowing that you must return to the community and give an accountability or some dissemination process of the information you find. And one of the don'ts would be is never return to the community and talk about there was no finding, because there are some findings, even if they are not scientific findings, there are some findings to every project, to everything that we do. There are some findings. So
when you come back to disseminate the information, make sure it's in a language that community folks can understand, because you may have all these things that happen, but if you present them in a way where a layman cannot understand them, it means nothing to the community. So make sure that the language you use, and the way to me to do that is to involve community folks in preparing the dissemination piece. Whether it's going to be in a PowerPoint presentation or a lecture or a flyer or whatever it is, make sure that it's at a level where everybody can understand it. And Reverend Turner really made a good point about, even though the findings may not be on the level that the scientists may need them to be on, it may be something that the community is really interested in. So make sure that we have that information. There may be something that we can replicate.
When you talk about a community advisory group, you come in and say, oh, these researchers are coming to town. Well, for what, how long, and what's going to come out of it? So you'll come in, so what will be the end result of this project as it relates to, we'll be researched, and we'll be, looked at, we'll be turned upside down, and we'll give information, but then where's the application for that? Is that going to be in our community? What's going to be, I guess I'm asking that question, what's the payback from the PRC related to, we can see how it might enhance the lives of people in Arkansas, and UAMS might have this, but how does it help us? And that's how tangible it is for me in terms of trying to sell something to a community advisory group. You can say, what's the point? And how and when will we see something that is tangible as it relates to a service or as it relates to a protocol of the way we treat people with diabetes or cancer, or how we impact, or whatever, or as it relates to setting policy for the state of Arkansas that ultimately might impact how Medicaid is applied to treating people with this disease or that disease or whatever. So I think, research is fine, but what is the ultimate? At this point in time, we almost have to promise some outcomes.
Those of us who now know what research is, know more than we used to know about what research is. We need to be willing and able to share those types of things with local people, and we do, because when they come and ask, we do let them know. But a lot of times research is going on, we don't even know anything about it.
That brings us, like, if someone take your blood or you send the blood,
What happens
to it,
Right.
after they get through it? How long can they keep it?
Where does it go?
We don't.
Who owns it?
what? Who owns the raw data? Who owns my
Right.
blood? Who
Right.
owns whatever may be taken out of this community? Who has the ownership?
And people don't think about that when they do that.
And academic folks, you need to have that discussion with local people, because years later, and I think about the story about the immortal life of Henrietta Lacks. People took her cells, and now they're all over the world.
Yeah.
And she didn't know what was going on.
Mhm.
And we may have some of the same thing happening today.
Christy and I were in a meeting, a hometown health coalition meeting this morning, and it was very clear from the coalition's standpoint what they were going to do, what the outcome was going to be. They were going to go into this industry. They were going to give flu shots. They were going to do body BMI. They were going to do testing for diabetes and whatever. So everybody was coming out of that experience with something, starting with the flu shot, and they strategically tied all these other things in to that. So when you go to that employer or you go to that group of people, they can leave empowered with information. I got my flu shot, I got body mass index, I know what my blood sugar is, I know, it was about 5-6 different things.
And the blood pressure.
Yeah, blood pressure. So those things that affect quality of life. And how, and we talked about approaches to how we can get people involved. So we talked about the school. I was telling them I used to be a smoker. I stopped smoking because my children came on, if you're going to die, and you're polluting my air, and blah, blah, blah. So we talked about approaches in terms of, so if you're going to target a group, what is the expected outcome for, so if the community advisory group, what's coming out of it for their advice? What's the
I like
benefit?
that piece about what's the payback. What's the payback for the
That's
UAMS? You got to tell me what's the payback going to be for the community.
Absolutely, absolutely,
right.
because clearly researchers don't work for nothing. And it seems like we're having stuff extracted from us, done to us for the greater good. Now the greater good is fine, but you know what? But what about right now? What about me? What about me?
Well, there was a meeting that Christy and Catherine had. It was something about evaluation. I can't remember exactly what it was about. But we had been in the meeting maybe 30, 45 minutes. But there was not really a breakthrough for me until Catherine began to talk about her working with, I believe it was blacks with AIDS. It might have been black women. I'm not really sure about that.
In East Arkansas.
Right. And then as Catherine began to tell us about her feelings as she worked with those particular group of people, that they sometimes looked at her strange, like, what is this white woman here doing? And from that point, she began to tell us about her feelings, how she felt, how we talk about how researchers treat people. Sometimes they treat us as a chip. But then she began to tell us, yes, researchers have feelings too. And when she began to share her real feelings about how she is a person, yes, her name does have letters behind it. But besides, when you move those letters, she get up in the morning, lay down at night, just like we do. And so for me, that was a great piece when she opened up her feelings. Because researchers are known to come in, treat people like chairs, and then they leave like a chair. So to have some feeling, to find out who that person really was. And we'll never go back to where we were that day. But that's what it was about for me. And I don't think I was the only one on that day, because I could see the expression on other faces as Catherine shared her story. And I can't recall if we were able to get everything on evaluation that day, but it was a breakdown in feelings. We learned to communicate to people, as she says about Dr. Phillips. And without that piece, research will remain as it has been in the past. There has to be a connection someplace. You got to realize you are a person. I'm a person. You have something I need. Someone told me one day, said, well, researchers, because of researchers, you have your blood controlled. Medicine. I said, of course I do. But then how much did the developer get from that? And did the person that they worked on, did they realize that's what was going to come of that? Did anyone want to share that information? Not really. So we have been resources or specimens for too many years and not getting to know about the people, nor they getting to know about us. Come in and get what you want and go. Never report back to us. It's our information. You gathered it from us. But it's to get what you need and then it's a goodbye. And I think that's some of the problem that we have had in the past. We don't make the relationships in the communities. We know researchers can't solve all our problems. That would be really silly. But they could at least share some information with us and treat us as they would want to be treated.